All right, as you folks know, Green Party nominee Gill Stein has launched a recount effort in Wisconsin and then expanding to Michigan and Pennsylvania, which really, let's face it, is nothing more than trying to drum up attention for the Green Party for herself and raise a bunch of money to help the Green Party, because there's no way in the world this recount could go anywhere. And then Hillary Clinton, of all things, rather than doing the right thing and stepping up and saying, oh, this is not right, this is not appropriate, we need to accept the results of this election and we need to come together as a country. No, she's slowing down the healing process by giving false hopes to her own supporters by saying, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and join in on this recount effort. Oh, my goodness. Well, what happens at this point? We're going to talk about this with Hans von Spakovsky, who is Senior Legal Fellow at the Heritage Foundation at heritage.org, and joins me now. Mr. Spakovsky, thank you for being with us today.
Sure. Happy to do so.
Thank you very much. All right. I look at recounts, and this is a point that you were making, which I think is a very fair point. If this is a case where, okay, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, all three of those states would have to be turned over in recount to put Hillary Clinton over top of 270. All three of them would be necessary. So if all three of those states were kind of like a Florida in 2000 or something, where there were a few hundred votes and maybe even 1,000 or so, it's like, well, okay. But recount overturns of elections are extremely rare, and the few times they've ever happened in a state has only been a swing of a few hundred votes. But when I look at these states and I see Michigan was won by Trump by 10,704 votes, Wisconsin in the neighborhood of 30,000, Pennsylvania in the neighborhood of 70,000, I'm scratching my head here figuring out why in the world this is even happening, let alone Hillary Clinton giving credibility to it.
Well, I think you pegged it exactly when you said Stein sees it as a way of raising money and bringing attention to herself. We know that's true because if you look at her reports that she filed with the Federal Election Commission on her campaign, so far she's raised about twice as much money for the recount as she did for her entire presidential campaign. She only raised about $3 million. And last I heard, she was up to about $6 million for the recount. So it's clearly not Gill Stein's supporters giving this money. These are Democratic donors. And why are they doing it? They have no chance of overturning the election results in these three states because the margin of victory of Trump is so much larger, certainly than Hillary Clinton's. I think this is part of this whole effort you see all across the country to raise questions about the legitimacy of Trump's win. I think this is actually the start by the Democrats of the 2020 presidential campaign, and how over the next 4 years they're going to say Donald Trump is an illegitimate president, he didn't have a mandate from the people, et cetera, in order to use that to oppose everything he's doing.
Which I can't help. I'm going to turn you into a media pundit now for a moment. Let's just reverse this. Let's just pretend that Donald Trump took the popular vote, but he lost the Electoral College, which kind of by a landslide. I mean, 306 to 232 is pretty strong in Electoral College defeat. If this were the other way around, and we'll say, I don't know, Evan McMullen was filing recount efforts in states where Trump lost by tens of thousands of votes, and then Donald Trump joined that effort. Oh, my goodness. Can you even imagine what the press would be saying about him being a sore loser, dividing the country unnecessarily? What a good thing it was he wasn't elected president, because we sure see he doesn't have the temperament after all. I mean, we'd be hearing all that kind of stuff right now. I just want to know when we're going to start hearing this about Hillary Clinton.
Never.
Yeah.
You won't. And look, I'll give another example of the one-sidedness of all of this. I just published an article about the fact that we've all read that Trump electors are getting threats.
Death threats, some of them are. Death threats, some of them are getting.
Okay, that is a direct violation of the Voting Rights Act. There's a section of the Voting Rights Act called 11B that makes it a criminal federal offense to threaten or attempt to threaten, coerce, intimidate any individual when they are voting or attempting to vote. So this is a violation of federal law. Has the Loretta Lynch Justice Department under Barack Obama done anything about this? They have not. Now, simply imagine if we had the opposite situation, and Hillary Clinton had won, as you were describing, and folks were calling up, Donald Trump supporters were calling up and emailing and threatening Hillary Clinton electors. Right. Does anybody out there not think that the Justice Department would already be hauling people into court over that?
No, they would be. Absolutely, they would be. And I'll tell you what else there would be. There would be demands for Donald Trump to strongly and vocally be condemning this and calling an end to this and whatever, repudiating it. You're not seeing these kind of demands being placed on Hillary Clinton right now or Barack Obama or the Democratic Party, the DNC, any of them. You're not seeing those kinds of demands. So I don't know. I look at this, and one area of criticism I got to give to Donald Trump, though, is I don't think it was smart for him to jump on Twitter and respond to Hillary Clinton and Gill Stein doing this. I think he would have been best to be above the fray in this and just let Hillary Clinton make herself look ridiculous.
Oh, look, I think you're probably right. But, Donald Trump does not play by the usual rules. And the one thing we have to say is not playing by the usual rules is, I think, what helped him elect.
And I'll tell you what, there's another, as I was saying that, I started thinking to myself, I really have to rethink everything that I say about Donald Trump, because for all I know, he may have just been trolling the media regarding Hillary Clinton, thinking to himself, I don't think that the press is really going to make as big of a deal out of as they should about Hillary Clinton challenging this. I don't think enough of Americans are going to know about this. So there's one surefire way for me to make sure that the press reports that Hillary Clinton is doing this. Let me send out a tweet attacking it. They'll attack me for attacking her, but in doing so, they'll have to end up reporting why I'm attacking her, and that will increase the percentage of Americans that know that she's doing this. I gotta say, I wouldn't put it past Trump to be media and marketing savvy enough to kind of troll the media with his Twitter account.
Oh, look, I think you're absolutely right about that. And what supports that particular analysis is the fact that he spent a fraction of the amount of money that Hillary Clinton spent in this presidential campaign for media, political ads, and things like that. And one of the reasons for that was because he himself was generating so much what they call free media. Right. Because of the way the media covered him, his tweets, and everything else. And, again, it was successful.
I tell you, I have never seen anyone who's able to generate more earned press than Donald Trump. I mean, you got to give him that in any way that you cut it. So, all right, then, so very quickly, we have just about 30 seconds left. What do you think, what happens with this recount? First of all, the deadline, I think, is passed for most of the districts anyway in Pennsylvania to try to make this happen. The recount is a judge isn't allowing a hand recount in Wisconsin, and Gill Stein is suing for that. So, what happened? When does this officially become a dead story?
They are going to try to get this completed, I understand, for example, in Wisconsin by December 13th.
All right.
December 19th is the official day under federal law that the electors have to meet to cast their votes all over the country. So it's probably going to take a week, if not longer, for them to do this recount in Wisconsin. And when it's over, maybe, as you said, maybe a couple of hundred votes have changed, but the results for the entire state will not change.
Hillary, if I were advising Hillary Clinton, I would tell her to divest of this in some way to at least protect your image to your supporters and to Americans. She was very gracious in the speech that she gave when she conceded, although she waited until the next day. It was a very gracious speech that she gave, but little did we know that on that very day she was having her team investigate possible recount efforts and to join in too. So it's like, wow, really? Okay. So yeah, she needs to divest herself, or she's just going to, I think, go down in history as a really embarrassing sore loser in this case. So folks, go to heritage.org on the web, Heritage Foundation, their senior legal fellow, Hans Von Spakowski. And Hans, we appreciate your analysis. Thanks for being with us today.
Sure, anytime.
Take care now. You're listening to The Bob Duco Show. Right now, joining me live